World Economic Forum's coming for our barbecues, people. What are you going to do about it? Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. Now let's get into today's video. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Crossing the Line, and we've got a bit of a doozy here for this first story. Now, I don't know about you, but after reading the headline of this, I was like, no, surely not. But yeah, it's true. We have gone too far in one direction as a race, and we need to spring back in the other direction as quickly as possible. Otherwise, I think there might be a large flood on the way or a meteor. And honestly, at this point, if this is actually happening and this is the stuff that's going on, maybe we deserve it as a race. I don't know. I'm sure there's worse things, but we're getting close. Like this is something else. We'll read this story here from timcast.com. Trans canine adult who claims to have sex with dogs says she was visited by police. I wonder why. Let's have a look. A woman who identifies as trans canine was banned from subscription service platforms after allegedly posting content of herself engaging in sexual activities with dogs. And now she says that she has been visited by police. I hope she's been visited by PETA, Animal Control, any sort of welfare service they have over there, and maybe a clinical professor or something, a psychiatrist, someone to help her. Other than that, she might be getting visited by some people in white coats and then throw her into a little van. But we'll keep reading, shall we? In a January 10th tweet, the woman who uses the Twitter handle A Naughty Princess announced that she had been banned from the subscription platform FanView for her alleged sexual activity with dogs. I got banned off FanView and I hope everyone gets refunded, they said. We cannot allow someone who F's dogs on our platform, but honestly, I don't do the effing, I just get on my knees and the dogs do the rest. I am the one being effed. You can see her tweet there. In a January 2 tweet, the user announced that she was trans canine, claiming that she had engaged in sexual activity with multiple dogs in the past year. As we know, humans are complicated and intelligent beings. We aren't always always simple, wrote the user. I have been with 6 dogs in the past year and only 2 men in my entire life. I am trans canine. I just want friends and a crowd that accepts and loves me and cherishes me. Well, I'm sorry, but you don't get that. You don't get that when you are doing that to poor animals. Like, I don't care what the dog thinks he's doing. There's no way in hell, there is no way at all that that is good or fine or acceptable in any circumstances. I know Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks would disagree with me. He loves that kind of thing and he thinks it's fine. So he's probably one of her bloody followers. But where are the people going with this? How is this allowed in public view? Like, obviously she's been banned off the platform, thank God. But how does she think that this is okay to come out and say? Like, wouldn't you be... These people need to be hiding in a dark corner? I mean... Wow. We'll keep reading here. You can see a tweet here. I've made a decision to come out. As we know, humans are complicated and intelligent beings. We have always been simple. I mean, 6 dogs. 6 dogs. 6 of them. That's 6. 1 dog is too much. 6 is an entirely different thing. Are they all different dogs, or is it the same dog? Like, I don't know. I don't want to know. The user continued discussing her experience engaging in sexual activity with animals in a January 7th tweet, suggesting she was providing pleasure to the dogs. Sounds something like Sank would say. She must be related to him. If you haven't seen it, he promotes and says that it's okay for people to do this kind of thing because it doesn't hurt the animal and the animal gets pleasure from it. So I don't know how you do that kind of mental gymnastics to get to that point. But I suppose that's just a basis of the left. Like, love is love, isn't it? People literally out here trophy hunting animals simply to brag that they killed that particular animal. That's okay, though. You have literally made multiple animals go extinct by hunting them. You bring animals deaths. I bring them orgasms, wrote the Twitter user. I am a better alternative, so shut the F up. Far out, man. This is warped. This is warped. Well, I mean, can you imagine this being your daughter? Or like, can you imagine this being the girl that you used to go to school with or something? Holy hell, dude. Dogs are more than capable of defending themselves and killing people. They are predatory animals, she continued in a separate tweet. If they don't want to do something or feel in danger, you will definitely be injured. Dog jizz in coffee is the best creamer and it helps you have clear skin, the user said in a January 8th tweet. It's sad that the government has us taking chemicals, but then the best remedies are natural. I'm happy those pill companies got sued forcing unnatural chemicals in us. Wow. Oh, far out. What the... Man, maybe Russia should nuke them. I mean, like, when do we invade the US? Like, surely we can all get together and look, all right, we're coming in to save you because these leftists and these people like you young Turks who think this is okay need to be stopped. If they can't do it and they've got all the guns literally in the world, then maybe they need some help because I think... oh my God, it gets... That tweet there got 635 likes. Holy hell. I want to read the comments here. All right, we'll read the comments, shall we? Yeah, you can imagine what... Oh my God. Yeah, this is gone too far. They have gone too far. This is too much. We'll finish the story here before I throw up, eh? The woman previously claimed she wouldn't face legal repercussions for sexual activity with animals, claiming she was a white woman in America. I'll claim sex abuse as a kid and get off. Why do you think I'm not bothered? Do I seem fearful of jail? I come from a good family and have a degree and was in a sorority. I have a better chance of getting hit by a car, she said the user. If I was black, though, rip. I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, it's the ATF that she should be worried about, like kicking down a door and shooting a dog, because they're renowned for that. But dear God, what has happened to society where this is socially... it's not socially acceptable. Okay, we'll get that point like bloody really clear. It's never going to be socially acceptable because before that happens, I hope the rapture comes. If the rapture's real, I hope it comes because, like, even if I'm left, which I'm sure I would be, at least I'm going to have, like, I don't know, a good old fun purge day with people like this because, you know, you're going to do God's work for them sometimes. Holy hell. We'll finish this story. Come on, keep going. Human men can kiss my feet. I am trans canine. I can't have sex with anything that isn't canine, the user wrote in a January 10th tweet. This is actually bestiality for me to have sex with human men. That's how that works, apparently. Please just remember, I lost my job because of you guys, and now you guys got me removed off OnlyFans. Just let me have this one thing. I want to have a nice life. Sharing my links with negativity harms me. Just remember, I am human too. I have feelings. She tweeted on January 7th. Now, she just contradicted herself that she's not human now. She is human. So I don't know whether it can't be a troll account, because they deleted her off OnlyFans and the other whatever one that was, they've deleted her off there. So she obviously posted some bestiality crap on there. I mean, like, there's always been those videos floating around the internet that someone shares at school or whatever. But for someone to start a subscription service on a 9 to 5 everyday kind of subscription service website, for her to tweet about it on a platform where there's tens of millions of people, what the hell? The user further claimed she was visited by police in a January 10th tweet. The police have visited me today. All those people getting killed, raped, murdered, and sexually assaulted, and they are bothering me, a white woman. When did this country go downhill? See, is she like racist, or was it a canine unit? All these people getting killed. Peter US has indeed received a complaint. In this case, cannot comment further now, but urges authorities to pursue all sexual predators who use animals for their own selfish gratification, as if they were sex toys rather than sentient beings who experience fear and pain, wrote Peter in a statement, according to the Daily Star. Now, I'm sure some of you are going to go out there and try to find her on Twitter, because I had to, and it's not a good follow. Don't follow. So, where's the country going? Like, we need, I don't know whether Russia should nuke them, whether they should start some kind of program to get people like this, and they just need to start rounding up these Fruit Loops and putting them in padded cells. I noticed that she kind of looks like that transgender, trans-species thing. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't want to misgender them, I suppose, from Matt Walsh's documentary, The One Who Thought They Were a Wolf. There's an old Vine of that person as well, howling, thinking that they're a wolf.
On all levels except physical, I am a wolf.
What has happened to these people? And where is this person's parents? What happened? What was done to this person to make them this way? Being a psychologist, or psychiatrist, sorry, must be a fun job sometimes. When you find something like this, it'd be like finding four-leaf clover, and then you go home and tell your other buddies who do the same job about, guess what I had at work today. I hope this person is arrested and sent to jail for a very long time, maybe to a mental institution instead, so they can help the person. But I hope those animals are okay, because that's just wrong. I mean, someone's been playing a bit too much Animal Crossing or watching the Young Turks a bit too much. I don't know about you, but if left people like this, and this is the new trans movement, they're staying away from children, at least with this one. But if they're going for kids, and they're going for your dogs and that now too, I'm really worried where this is leading. Like, when do we have to invade the US? Like, would it be an invasion? Because we'd be welcomed by quite a few people. I mean, it doesn't even have to be Australia, because the Australian government's goddamn garbage. But maybe like a coalition of people could just invade. And we could give them some help, because they need help, because all their guns that they've got, all their freedoms and rights and freedoms of speech, it's not doing it. It's not doing the job. I mean, come on. Can we please at least agree on two things? One, no one harms kids. Two, no one harms animals. Like, Where have we gotten to as a society where this is a news story and that this person thinks this is okay? And not just this person. There are several other people and her followers, and you imagine the people that are watching the crap. But people like Cenk from the Young Turks who think that this is okay and actively promote it. What is wrong with people? How can we fix this? What do we do? What do we do with these kind of people? How do we get them some help? Because they obviously need help. This is disgusting. It's not funny, but it is funny because the world is so messed up, and people think that this is okay now. They think it is okay enough, at least, to come out and say it with their name and put their name to it. I don't know. What do you guys think anyway? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And we're going to take a look at this story from Bloomberg, and it's been trending on Twitter over the last couple of days. You may have heard some talk going on about it. The US Safety Agency to consider ban on gas stove amid health fears. Now, you may be wondering what's this got to do with, how's this going to affect us here in Australia? Well, let me tell you, if they're going to do it there, if they're talking about it now, you can guarantee some idiot in the Greens party is going to stick their hand up and say that this is a good idea and that we should do it. Now, no one thought they were going to ban plastic straws, but look what happened with that. And plastic bags. Remember when we had plastic bags? Remember when we had plastic straws? And remember how quickly they disappeared. Remember how quickly they were gone. Single-use plastics, the useful ones anyway, are gone. You still have the single-use plastics bloody everywhere. And so it wouldn't surprise me if some idiot in the Greens party or someone like that, someone in the government, decides that this is going to be a good idea and they're going to put it to the floor. Now, this story from Bloomberg and the New York Times, I believe, started. But these stories seem to have been a bit of a fishing expedition to see what people's reaction would be to trying to ban gas stoves. Now, I don't believe for a second that it has anything to do with health effects on people, causing childhood asthma or anything like that, like it says here in the story. That may be the case. It may be proven to be true. It may cause childhood asthma, but I doubt it. And not to mention, I think if they're going to use that as an excuse, there's a lot of other things they should be banning before they ban that. But as we all know, the World Health Organization and people like the World Economic Forum all know what's best for us. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to take care of ourselves. We need people like the United Nations, our government, World Health Organization, the CDC. We need them to take care of us because we're all bloody invalids. Now, the reason I see behind them fishing for this and seeing what kind of backlash that they were going to get for this, it's got nothing to do with our health. It's got nothing to do with asthma. It's got nothing to do with anything like that. It's got to do with control and power. They want us on every grid they have, whether it's a social media grid, whether it's a power grid, whether it's a welfare grid system or something you're suckling at the teat of the government. All around the world, they want you dependent on them. And with gas, it may not seem as a big of a deal, but if the gas company is dropping off bottles at your place, like I have a gas cook stove here, gas barbecue, it's Australia, we all have barbecues with gas bottles. Some people are going electric. We've got a electric and pellet smoker, as you can imagine, but they don't want you to be able to cook a meal at home without their say-so. So if you're doing something against the government, they can cut your power off. They can pretty much control what you can and can't do. They won't let you charge your car if they cut your power off. They won't let you cook a meal if they cut your power off. They won't let you tweet or get angry about anything about the government's doing online. They won't let you say anything online. So if they control the power, they control you. And if you're completely dependent on the power, which we all are. I mean, my home is connected to the grid. I have solar panels. I don't have battery backup. We suffer from blackouts here constantly. So we need generators and whatnot just to, run the water pump. Because I'm living in a rural setting, we're not connected to mains water or sewage. So we need a generator backup for when the system fails or when there's a storm, whatever. Solar power is pretty much on every single house in Australia by now. I mean, if you don't have solar, I don't know where you've been. Pretty much every house I've seen has solar, or at least some sort of solar. If you aren't able to cook your own food because the power's out, because the government doesn't want you to have power because of load shedding, or because we've just had a couple of cloudy days and they don't want us to be using coal-fired gas plants anymore, they will be able to shut it off and you won't have an option. So this is just another push for a government, and this is the American government, but here in Australia, we'd adopt it as quick as. I mean, you see how our government sees someone do something stupid in Canada, England, or the US, and our government says, oh, quick, we better follow suit and do what they're doing. So, and not to mention that they love following in the footsteps of the World Economic Forum. They listen to Greta Thunberg, for God's sakes. I mean, why are we listening to a 16-year-old on climate crisis, apparently? Who knows? But we'll have to look at this story from the Bloomberg here, and the US Safety Agency to consider ban on gas stoves amid health fears. The US Consumer Product Safety Commission will move to regulate gas stoves as new research links them to childhood asthma. I wouldn't be surprised, if they started linking all these heart attacks and died suddenly, people who are just keeling over and dying from heart attacks. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried linking it to something like this. Something that's, mildly inconvenient for the government, they'll link it to that. A federal agency says a ban on gas stoves is on the table amid rising concern about harmful indoor air pollutants emitted by appliances. The US Consumer Product Safety Commission plans to take action to address the pollution, which can cause health and respiratory problems. This is a hidden hazard, Richard Trunker Jr., an agency commissioner, said in an interview. Any option is on the table. Products that can't be made safe can be banned. Natural gas stoves, which are about 40% of homes in the US, emit air pollutants such as nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, and fine particulate matter at levels the EPA and the World Health Organization have said are unsafe and linked to respiratory illness. Cardiovascular problems. There it is. Cardiovascular problems. So a gas stove is the reason all these people are keeling over and having heart attacks in the middle of soccer fields and like that, is it? Okay, it's gas stoves. Nothing else? You can't think of anything else it could be? No? Oh well, we'll keep reading, shall we? Carbon monoxide and fine particulate matter is the EPA, the World Health Organization, unsafe to link to respiratory illness, cardiovascular problems, cancer, and other health conditions, according to reports by such group as the Institute for Policy Integrity and the American Chemical Society. Consumer Reports in October urged to consumers planning to buy a new range to consider going electric after tests conducted by the group found high levels of nitrogen oxide gases from gas stoves. New peer-reviewed research published last month in the International Journal for Environmental Research and Public Health found that more than 12% of current childhood asthma cases in the US can be attributed to gas stove use. There is about 50 years of health studies showing the gas stoves are bad for our health, and the strongest evidence is on children and their children's asthma, said Bradley Seals, a manager of the Carbon Free Buildings Program. Look at the words, look at where they work, look at the people who are doing these studies. They're the ones who are pushing this climate change agenda. They're the ones pushing this, lie that us using fossil fuels is destroying the earth at a astronomical rate that we can't ever fix. I completely believe that we are damaging the environment with what we are doing as a human race. Undoubtedly, we are damaging the environment. Is it to the extent that these government officials are saying? Hell no. Hell no, it is not. Are we flooding? We're supposed to be underwater by now. Al Gore said we're supposed to be drowned and clinging to a life raft by now. The Bethesda, Maryland-based Consumer Product Safety Commission, which has a staff of roughly 500, plans to open public comment on hazards posed by gas stoves later this winter. Besides barring the manufacture or import of gas stoves, options include setting standards on emissions from appliances, Trump has said. Lawmakers have weighed in, asking the Commission to consider requiring warning labels, range hoods, and performance standards. In a letter to the agency in December, lawmakers include Senator Cory Booker, New Jersey, and Representative Don Beyer of Virginia. Both Democrats urge action and call gas stove emissions a cumulative burden on Black, Latino, and low-income households that are disproportionately experience air pollution. So it's racist too. Okay. Democrats are saying that gas stoves are racist and they're killing Black and Latino people disproportionately to what, white people? What about Asian people? Because I know a lot of Asian people that use gas stoves. Have you ever heard of a wok? Have you ever tried using an electric wok? It does not work. You need a gas stove. So basically, you're racist for having a gas stove and you're killing children is what they're trying to promote now. Parallel efforts by the states and local policymakers are targeting the use of natural gas in buildings more broadly in a push to reduce climate warming emissions such as from methane that exacerbate climate change. Nearly 100 cities and countries have adopted policies that require to encourage or move away from fossil fuel power buildings. The New York City Council voted in 2021 to ban natural gas hookups in new buildings smaller than several stories by the end of this year. California Air Resource Board unanimously voted in September to ban the sale of natural gas-fired furnaces and water heaters by 2030. Do you know who's not banning gas and who's not stopping using coal and who's not stopping using oil? China. They don't care. They are contributing to more greenhouse gas emissions than any other country in the world, and they don't care about the green climate change deal, New Deal, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to lie about. They don't care about that. They want power, in its literal sense, more than any other country in the world. And they are using it. They are getting it. They are building gas-fired power plants and coal-fired power plants every single day. They do not care. And whatever we do in our tiny little countries like Australia with its population of, what, say, 30 million, less probably, doesn't make a dent. Doesn't make a dent. Consumers who want to switch from gas to electric ranges could get some help in a massive climate spending bill signed into law in August. The Inflation Reduction Act includes rebates of up to $840 for purchase of new electric ranges as part of some $4.5 billion in funding to help low and moderate income households electrify their homes. The Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers, which represents gas range manufacturers such as Whirlpool Corp, says that cooking produces emissions and harmful byproducts no matter what kind of stove is used. Ventilation is really where this discussion should be rather than banning one particular type of technology, said Jill Notini, a vice president of the Washington-based trade group. Banning one type of cooking appliance is not going to address concerns about overall indoor air quality. We may need some behavior change. We may need people to turn on their hoods when cooking. I mean, if you're spewing out smoke and you're burning something, shouldn't you have your range hood turned on or open a window or something like that to put a fan on? I don't think people are sitting in their homes gassing themselves out like they're bloody Germans gassing out Jews. I don't think that's happening. I mean, if you're in an inner city and you're breathing in gas coming from a stove, that's probably the least harmful thing you're breathing in. You go outside to the however many tens of thousands of cars and people farting, for God's sakes. Just the amount of soy-based fat people that are running around inner cities now farting out their soy was got to be doing much more bloody harm than gas stoves. I mean, why are they attacking gas stoves for health? No, it's not health. We know it's not health. It's power and control. They don't want you to be cooking anything because you're not going to be eating meat. You're not going to be eating meat. You're not going to need to cook anything. It's all going to be fake plant-based crap. It's probably going to be pre-cooked and you just stick it in the microwave and 30 seconds later it's done. It's full of seed oils, full of garbage that you have to eat because they've banned everything else. The World Economic Forum is attacking our way of life on every single front. And they're pissed that this story got such a large amount of backlash over the last couple of days. They laughed it out. People are talking, look at this crap on Twitter. Look, they're talking about $20,000 worth of eggs before the government seizes my gas stove. Yes, it's a joke. It really is a joke. I mean, 87,000 gas stove police officers now. Do it now. This is insanity. It's true. This is what it's going to come to. This is a tactical gas stove, Tesla new gas stove. I saw one here before. Look at this. How many people are dying from these? Joe Biden's Antifa IRS agents hunting down the last gas stove owner. This is where we're getting to in the US. This is where we're getting to in Australia. They're not going to let us have anything. You're not going to be able to light a fire outside. You're not going to be allowed to have a barbecue. We're going to be banning barbecues in Australia. And I hope to God that never happens, because if we ban the barbecue, the gas barbecue, or the charcoal grill, or anything like that here in Australia, who are we as a country? We're not Australian anymore. We can't. I know it's a tired old trope that the Americans think we say all the time, but throw another shrimp on the barbie, which we don't say. We never said, never have said. We don't call them shrimp. They're called prawns. You uneducated, Biden-loving wankers. They're called prawns. They're not going to let us have our barbecues. All these people on Australia Day that's coming up. What are we going to do on Australia Day? We can't have a barbecue. Oh, quick, get out the electric wok. No, please. World Economic Forum's coming for our barbecues, people. What are you going to do about it? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. We're going to have a look at The Last of Us coming out as filming of this. It's tomorrow. It comes out on Binge here in Australia. And The Last of Us, as you know, fantastic game on PlayStation, as PlayStation exclusive, unfortunately. I'm more of an Xbox fan, but you know, The Last of Us really has been one of the best games ever, I think. Fantastic graphics, fantastic gameplay, fantastic storyline, you name it, it's got it. Now, this is going to make a fantastic TV show, but I'm a little worried that it's going to be woke nonsense like the rest of crap that's been put out now by Hollywood. And but we won't know until tomorrow, until we watch it. Hopefully it doesn't go the way that the latest TV shows and all that have, where The Mandalorian, you've even got things like the Pedro Pascal from The Last of Us here as well, The Mandalorian. They had some woke stuff in it. The new TV shows that are coming out all just seem to be woke. Now, fair enough, everyone needs their representation, but I think some of these things are just going a little too far, like the new Mystery Gang is now doesn't have a dog, so Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang, there is no Scooby-Doo. Shaggy's now black, which is fine, I suppose. But why would you make the stoner guy who's lazy and does anything black? I don't know. And Velma's now black, and she's a lesbian, but she's non-binary. And there's twerking involved and all sorts of things. But, you know, that's just a cartoon, so who the hell really cares? But The Last of Us, it looks fantastic from the trailer. Go watch it yourself. The trailer will be up on YouTube. Or by the time this comes out, probably you'll be able to watch the show on binge, and we'll see what it's like. But we'll get into this story here from news.com. The Last of Us reviews dub HBO series best TV adaptation ever made. The big budget TV adaptation of a popular video game is set to debut on binge in a matter of days, and early reviews have lauded it as the near perfect project. Reviews are piling in for arguably the most anticipated TV series of 2023, and they're near on perfect. HBO went into risky territory when it greenlit an adaptation of the viral video game The Last of Us, with many creatives having already tried and failed to emulate the success of the popular video game into a binge-worthy TV series. But it seems the production company has managed to pull it off what many thought was an impossible, with one reviewer going so far to call it as the best TV adaptation ever made. I mean, if you're comparing it to like the Rings of Power, that's not hard. Rings of Power was utter garbage. I mean, they went a little too woke too quickly. The 9-part series is a worthy hands created by the game's mastermind Neil Druckmann and Chernobyl creator Craig Mazin, and debuts exclusively on Australian streamer Binge on January 16th. Pedro Pascal and Anna Torv bring to life a small screen adaptation of the survival horror game, which was originally released in 2013 and has since won more than 200 Game of the Year awards. But critics treated it early. Screeners have delivered their opinions this week, and you'd be hard-pressed finding anything less than a glowing take. News.com.au's own TV critic Wenli Ma described it as irresistible TV and the first great TV show of 2023, while The Guardian's Joel Golby dubbed it the perfect video game adaptation. Time magazine said it was an exquisitely made adaptation, while the BBC concluded it doesn't feel even remotely controversial to call this the best video game adaptation ever made. I hope so. A series which reportedly cost $13 million in an episode is set 20 years from the global pandemic that decimated human population after a fungus-based infection burrowed into people's brains, turning them into rabid infectious zombies. Per the video game, the focus centers on Joel Miller, Pedro Pascal, who was sent past 2 decades barely surviving a smuggler alongside his partner Tess Torv. The beacon of hope in a bleak existence, Joel is a 14-year-old Ellie, who's played by Bella Ramsey, of whom he becomes a protector. Ellie is immune to the infection and might be the only key to cure or a vaccine. The Last of Us premieres on binge January 16th. Now, if you're unaware of the story around The Last of Us, as I said there, it's a post-apocalyptic world. It's kind of like a zombie apocalypse, but instead of just like your run-of-the-mill zombies, it's more of a fungal infection. So they have spores and different things protruding off of them. They kind of look like the mushrooms growing out of them and that. And they kind of a bit more terrifying than your normal, average, everyday zombie, I suppose. But where my worries are coming from is things like the adaptation of Rings of Power. I know it wasn't really an adaptation of games adaptation, but you got things like Halo as well. Halo was terrible. I mean, you've got a story. I mean, even the Halo movies were terrible. You've got a story that's massive and expansive, and you've got so many characters and so many opportunities to create even just a little spin-off series or anything like that, and you ruin it. I don't get how you ruin it. You ruin it with woke crap and just, I mean, video game characters, we don't need to know their sexual orientation. We don't need to know what they like sticking inside themselves or what they like sticking in other people. It's a video game. We don't play them for that. We play it to escape reality kind of thing, you know? Like, you want to read a good book about whatever, whether it's a zombie apocalypse book, you don't generally get too much into the details about their sexual preference and that, because no one really cares. That's not why you're reading those kind of books or you're watching those kind of shows. I mean, if you want to explore their sexual preferences in a show that's about sexual preferences, or something like along the lines of what was that bloody show? It was all those British kids that were basically just rooting each other. That's all it was about. And then you get like shows like The In-Betweeners, even, where it's a comedy. But then, they explored that kind of thing growing up, and that kind of makes sense. But when you're getting into a show that's about zombies and the end of the world and, fast-paced action and murder and violence and all sorts of things like that, you don't really need to know who wants to bang who. I mean, you can reference it just to, expand the character a little, but I don't want to make this like the Umbrella Academy, where it's like 4 or 5 episodes, maybe a whole season like they did, just dedicated to figuring out that this person's trans or non-binary, or they change their mind and blah, blah, blah. No one cares. There's other things to talk about. No one cares. So I hope that they don't ruin this show straight off the bat by getting into things like non-binary or LGBT crap. No one cares when you're watching a show. Even gay people don't care. They think, oh, okay, that's a gay character. Then leave it at that. Don't go into it and spend 3 episodes on developing like, oh, they like this and they do this and they feel like this. No one cares about that. That's not what it's for. But you can see where I'm getting a little worried, because these 2 actors, Bella Ramsey was on Game of Thrones as well, and you might recognise her there. Bella Ramsey, my gender has always been very fluid. Now, this could be just her coming out and saying something to go along the lines of the left so that she gets more money, and then people look at her and, they don't seem like they're excluding anyone, which wouldn't surprise me. But I don't get why we need to hear about actors' sexual preferences. I mean, you do you, boo. Whatever. And not to mention she's a child. The star of the upcoming HBO television series The Last of Us, Bella Ramsey, recently opened up about her gender identity, disclosing that she is gender fluid. This is a story from the Star Observer. An interview published in the New York Times, Ramsey said, the publication, I guess my gender has always been very fluid. Someone who would call me she or her, and I would think about it, but I knew that if someone called me he, it was a bit exciting, Ramsey said. She's just got mental illness then, because, like, it's exciting? That doesn't even make sense. The actor may be a familiar face for who've seen the small but fierce lady Lyanna Mormont from the hit TV series Game of Thrones. Ramsey said in an interview that she would tick non-binary when filling out forms, as she was very much just a person. Being gendered isn't something that I particularly like, but in terms of pronouns, I really couldn't care less, Ramsey said. Non-binary and gender-fluid celebrities. The 19-year-old actor joins a growing number of celebrities who have come out as identified as non-binary or gender-fluid. Celebrities like singer-songwriter Sam Smith, Grey's Anatomy star Sarah Remes, Emma Corrin from The Crown, the actor and musician Janelle Monáe are among those who have come out as non-binary within the last few years. The Last of Us is an adaptation of the critically acclaimed 2013 action-adventure game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. The story follows the smuggler Joel, who's played by Pedro Pascal, who was tasked with escorting a teenage girl, Ellie, who's played by Ramsey, across post-apocalyptic United States and has been devastated by deadly fungus. That is a terrible way to say it. It's been devastated by a deadly fungus. Okay. Yeah, no, I guess you're correct, but that's a really bad way to say it. I mean, if you haven't played the game, you might not want to do a story on it like that. The 9-episode series premieres on Monday, 16th of January at 1 p.m. AEDT and can be watched on both Binge and Foxtel. Now, I'm hoping that this doesn't make it into the show, because we don't really care and we don't really need to know. I mean, there's another story here. I've just seen Murray Bartlett praises gay love story in The Last of Us. We'll have a look at this one as well. Australian actor, of course he's Australian, Murray Bartlett praises a gay love story in the new TV show series Last of Us. The HBO show is a post-apocalyptic drama, blah, 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 blah. Characters Joe and Ellie travel across America while avoiding mutated fungi-infected zombies. Though their journey and duo helped by a man named Bill, who was the last survivor of a town taken over by zombies in the third episode of The Last of Us, viewers are able to watch storyline dedicated entirely to Bill and his partner Frank. So there we go. An entire storyline developed to two ring-in characters, and you develop their storyline because they're gay. Now, why? No one cares. You're watching a show about zombies with fungal infections and murder and all sorts of things, and you go and put in a gay couple, then you run a whole episode off of it. We'll see. I suppose we'll see tomorrow when it comes out whether they run the whole episode about this guy's gay relationship. I mean, you can have a gay character in there with his partner. I don't really care. When you go and make an entire episode about it, that says more about that you're pretending that you give a shit than anyone else. I mean, unless it's a gay director. But I hope it doesn't just run around bloody filleting the left, because it's really dragging on, man. They're ruining everything. The series is based on a video... here we go, back up here. Throughout their journey, the duo are helped by a man named Bill, the last survivor of a town taken over by zombies, blah, blah, blah. The series is based on a video game of the same title, which sees survivors of a pandemic following the collapse of civilization, attempting to stay alive, avoiding parasitic fungus that turns people into flesh-eating monsters in the video game. Frank becomes infected, and the players of the game know that he became infected and kills himself to save Bill. Bartlett commented on a script of the third episode of the series, telling Collider that it was one of the best hours of television I've ever read. It's beautiful and beautifully written, he told Collider. There are these zombie creatures in it, but it's tender and it's human. I think it's going to be really special, Bartlett said. Bartlett declared that he was really proud of the work that he had done during the filming of the gay episode. He called the series incredibly cinematic. It's amazing and complicated story with really deep themes in it. It's an amazing creation. I truly hope that this gay episode isn't a gay episode. I hope it's just like Taika Waititi when he was talking about Thor Love and Thunder, that he said, oh no, it's really gay, it's super gay, bro. And it wasn't, and then people got really shitty about it because it wasn't super gay. I mean, the movie bombed anyway. I think it was their worst one to date. But why do they keep promoting and just making all these TV shows about the LGBT crowd? Because it's selling tickets. I mean, people watch it to hate watch it, which is the only reason I finished watching the Lord of the Rings show, because that was utter garbage. And it wasn't even because, you know, they came out and attacked people who didn't like the show because they said, oh, you're racist, or you're homophobic, or blah, 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 blah. Even they had a TikTok bloke who's renowned for like knowing all the facts about Lord of the Rings and shit. And I quite like Lord of the Rings. I mean, I have all the books. I've read them a million times. The Hobbit is one of my favorite books ever written. And they ruined that entire show because of a few things. One, they didn't account for like how pissed off people would be with having such a shitty main character. She was god awful. She was the worst actress for that role, period. You have an elven, basically she becomes a godlike figure. And you have someone with no emotion, zero sex appeal, and someone who's just whinging all the time play her. And then you have weird haircuts. Like, Elsa's supposed to have long blonde hair or long brown hair and nice little rings and things in it. And you have like some sort of 70s style haircut that looks like it's from, I don't know, the Stranger Things show. I don't know what the hell was going on with that. The only character I liked was the bloody dwarves, and people will complain that his wife was black. I don't care about having black dwarves. I don't care about having black Was that other guy who was an elf. Cool. But it didn't make sense in the show. It didn't make sense at all. And then you had the worst part of that entire show is when Mordor, if you haven't seen, I don't care, spoiler alert, Mordor gets created and they have in some sort of like Paint Shop Pro or word art format comes up Mordor across the screen. And they're like, oh, that was worth $2 billion or however how much they spent on it, billions of dollars on this show. My God. We'll have a look at the story again here from the Star Observer. The Last of Us, the lead up to the show's release, fans of the series posted their excitement on Twitter about one of the user writing, as we're now 1 week away from The Last of Us. HBO may remind people that we are getting Nick Offerman and Mari Bartlett as gay lovers in the show. DILF representation. I hope it's a good show. I really do. I got high hopes for it, but I know they just like promoting anytime they do like a little bit of a gay scene or anything like that. They're promoting it now. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 98% average tomato meter. We shall see what happens when it comes out tomorrow, and I got high hopes. Hopefully, I haven't ruined it. I mean, the characters look the part. So, I mean, some of the screenshots from it are looking pretty cool. If you look here, it's looking like it's got some really cool cinematography in it, at least. I mean, it's really well filmed. We can go and watch the trailer after this, and you can go and check it out on YouTube. But before I leave you guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your hopes are for this show, or whether you enjoyed it by the time this comes out. Let me know if you liked it or not. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
You haven't seen the world, so you don't know. You keep going for family.
I'm not family.
No. You're cargo.
Why are you so important?
Somewhere out west, they're working on a cure. I think what really impressed them was the fact that I didn't turn into a monster.
If she so much as twitches, don't.
Okay.
I'm taking you with me. Do what I say when I say it. Got any advice on the best way west?
Yeah, go east. You've come this far, then you know what's out there.
You're not gonna scare us.
Scared him?
You have a greater purpose than any of us could have ever imagined.
Be careful who you put your faith in.
You might not be her father, but you were someone's.
You trust me?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.